That's what you call decisive.
I think that one speaks for itself.
That kind of fight keeps you on the team.
It was Derek Boogaard's first regular season fight in the NHL, and with one punch, he was out to prove that he was the toughest guy in the league.
He was just terrifying. He had just the potential to deliver that one punch that could end your season. It's one punch, you can crush your face.
His intense stare, imposing size, and powerful knockouts
there it is.
Had earned him a chilling nickname.
Boogeyman. That's a name that's going to stick with NHL tough guys for years, you know.
This kid is a monster, Boogaard. 6'7", 245 pounds, and he just caught Gillies with a haymaker.
So you want to be an enforcer in the NHL?
A long shot to even make the NHL, Boogaard embraced the violent role of enforcer, a player who uses his fists to intimidate and motivate.
It's not, I'm just going to go and fight. It's more of a protection for my team. My job is to tell the other team, you know what, if you F with my guys, there's going to be a price to pay.
Boy, now Boogaard drops him again, this time with Fedoruk.
Less than 10 minutes after his first knockout, the 23-year-old fighter in the red jersey took on veteran enforcer Todd Fedoruk.
Hands down, I think he was probably one of the best. You know, size, punching power, his want to really beat the guy.
Early on in a hockey season, there's a lot of guys that are potentially on bubbles, and you want to stay here. Boogaard's doing his best.
By the end of his rookie season, Boogaard had so established his fearsome reputation that he was expected to make a highlight reel every game.
Boogaard and McGrattan are going to go.
A hockey fight, like this one against Ottawa, can change the momentum in a lopsided game and rally the team.
Oh, there we go.
There's no better feeling when the boys get a rise from you showing up, putting yourself out there. I'm getting chills right now just from talking about it. But
here we go, Boogaard and King.
Here's Boogaard in the green jersey against fellow heavyweight DJ King.
When someone just puts their body on the line and just lets you know, like, hey, I'm here to battle for you guys. Everyone just kind of wakes up a little bit and like, well, he just did that for us. We better smarten up and start playing a little harder.
But it's a brutal way to make a living.
People don't understand the emotional swings it takes to do what they do. Think of getting in an argument with a driver on the road, or you have a confrontation with somebody, and you're all riled up, and you think about that confrontation for the next 2 days. It eats at you. I shoulda, I coulda. If he'd have just stepped forward, I woulda. And I should have told him this, and and you boil it over in your head, and you got to think these guys got to do that. They got to take themselves to the point where it's man on man, full out, and then they got to shut that off and come and talk to the press and be part of the team and take pictures with kids, and then the next night bring that emotion back up and be the toughest guy in the league and the one that wants to, eat somebody alive, and then repeat 80 games a season. There's a toll to it.
Ever since he was a boy in Canada, Boogaard had dreamed of making it to the NHL. And by his second season with the Minnesota Wild, the punishing enforcer had become a crowd favorite.
Right now, this building...
Like in the final minutes of a heated playoff game against Anaheim.
And there was a bad hit and a couple other things. The refs were trying to square everything out, and the crowd was chanting for Boogie.
Now the fans are calling for Boogaard. Boogaard saying, I can't wait to get on the ice to knee somebody else.
He got the nod, and Derek went out there, and the place just... If the roof wasn't screwed down, it would have flew off.
Honda center as Boogaard comes over the boards.
Literally 18,000 people went nuts. I still watch the YouTube video. I get goosebumps thinking about it. He went past their bench. He was looking at all of them. He gave them the shrugs, so what now? I'm on the ice. And of course, guys were skating in every direction except at him,
This place is going crazy.
Just his presence on the ice was enough to keep things calm.
He's the A-bomb, and he's there if you need him, but you don't really need to use him.
But calm is not what the fans are looking for.
Going into a game, I know I'm going to get into a fight, or just the thought of getting into a fight, I just lay there. I'll probably get 1 hour of sleep. Just because it's exciting, nerve-wracking, and it's terrifying all at the same time.
Mentally, you got to be strong, you got to be prepared to get hit, to get knocked out, to get hurt.
And it only takes one punch to make or ruin a career. Todd Fedoruk knows this more than anyone. In 2006, trying to avenge a hit on his teammate, Fedoruk, in white number 29, tugged on Boogaard's green jersey.
Someone wants to fight Boogaard, and he's not going.
I was thinking, stay on the offense, you know. Throw something at his face so he thinks something's coming, he doesn't throw. And he hit me hard. Hardest I've ever been hit by far.
Boogaard works the left. Oh, there you go. Oh, boy.
I instantly knew it was broken. You could see it, the damage that was done, because the cheekbone, it wasn't there anymore. It was just kind of in, and there was a hole there, about the size of a fist.
Pete Boogaard's done that to so many players.
The boogeyman was the king of the mountain, for now.
And Fedoruk, oh man.
Fedoruk needed 4 metal plates to reconstruct his face.
That just flush to the jaw.
And his career would soon unravel.
Since that injury, like I said, it changed the course of my career and how I could fight and how I thought about fighting.
And here we go, Todd Fedoruk and Colton Orr.
Mentally, it was in there. Don't get hit there, you know, don't get hit there. You know, you can't go into a fight not being prepared to get hit. You're going to get hit.
Orr goes after Fedoruk. Wow. I hope Fedoruk is not hurt.
I agree with you.
I hope he's not hurt.
But he was, so badly that he began abusing painkillers and later went into rehab for addiction.
I loved what it did for me, and you know, that was my main coping mechanism, was turn to that.
Drug abuse and physical pain are occupational hazards for enforcers, and Boogaard wasn't immune. By 25, he had been bare-knuckle brawling since he was a teenager, and his injuries were adding up.
He had bulging discs in his back. He had a shoulder that wasn't fixed right and it hurt him all the time. He had hands that hurt. He had a nose that hurt. He had a head that was banged up. I mean, he had 100 things.
But the boogeyman never let on how hurt he really was.
Maybe a little bit to his detriment. Derek had a weird sense of invincibility. He'd played through pain the whole time I knew him. And he loved to do what he did. He loved to play, and he was going to play no matter what.
Yet 3 months after crushing Fedoruk's face,
And now we got a fight at center ice. The guys we waited all night for, Boogaard and Goddard.
Boogaard, in the white jersey, was sent reeling to the ice in a fight with Eric Goddard.
And you don't see that happen very often. And Boogaard is a little dazed. He was going to the wrong penalty box.
The incident marked his first official concussion, but certainly not his only one.
Specialist saw him in New York and was asking him, you know, Derek, when you've been punched before and you've kind of gone black and then you came back, you know, or hit the ice, would you say that's happened to you 4 or 5 times? And Derek laughed at him and went, "Are you kidding me? That's hundreds. That's happened every game."
I think that when you've got like bare knuckle fighting, essentially, there's always that risk. But it seemed like Derek had a thick melon. Like going back to that Chris Simon fight.
Oh, that's not good.
And he took 3 or 4 shots straight to his forehead, and he didn't faze him.
For Boogaard, the injuries were a small price to pay. He loved the lavish N.H.L. lifestyle and signing autographs for adoring fans in Minneapolis. At his peak, his jersey was one of the top sellers for the Wild. And in return, the team celebrated their favorite brawler with a series of highlight reels. In January 2009, Boogaard, in the white jersey, tore his shoulder in a scrap with an enforcer for the Edmonton Oilers, and he was benched. 3 months later, he had back-to-back surgeries so he could return to the ice.
He did the nose surgery a week later. He underwent the shoulder surgery as well, and then they put him on pretty powerful pain meds, etc. And you know, that sort of seemed to be the downhill slide.
He has a high pain tolerance, so it took a lot to take the pain away for him. I don't know if he knew right at that time how addictive they were, if in the beginning he knew he was getting caught up in it.
The Minnesota Wild sent Boogaard to rehab, but he was reluctant to admit he had a problem.
He didn't want to go. He didn't want anybody to know that he had this addiction, and I think it was because he was embarrassed and he was ashamed.
Now Boogaard wants to go. Here we go.
After a scant 2 weeks in rehab,
This is the first fight Boogaard's had since he came back from injury.
Boogaard was back in the lineup in the fall of 2009. Neither his fans nor the rest of the team knew the extent of his drug problem. and Boogaard didn't want them to.
His rep around the league is going to drop a little bit because it's like, oh, he's not the boogeyman anymore. We can kind of take some runs at him. We're not too scared of him. So that fear factor drops, I think, if you let that information out. Especially fighters, there's always someone gunning for you.
Derek Boogaard needs to do this to keep that belt, if you will.
Adding to the pressure, Boogaard was nearing the end of his contract with the Wild, and John Scott, another colossal enforcer on the team, was making an impression.
Big John Scott's going to go.
You're out there to do a job, and if you're hurt or you're injured, you know, there's 1,000 kids standing behind you that are willing to step up to the plate and take your spot.
That's just too much reach. Too much too soon, baby. Yeah, it is. Right in front of us here. That's good stuff.
After the fight, John Scott skated over to the penalty box, where Boogaard was already sitting. As the crowd roared for Scott, it was clear that in this role, an enforcer is only as good as his last fight. With his contract expiring, the boogeyman had one last chance to prove he was the best.
Here's Boogaard and King dropping the gloves. Oh, this is as heavy, this is as big as it gets.
It was March of 2010.
Boogaard and DJ King.
Now 27, he had endured surgeries on his nose and shoulder, suffered several concussions, and kicked an addiction to painkillers.
Oh, and King stunned Boogaard there, and then he comes back, and he stuns King.
But researchers at Boston University say that fighting set him up for a lifetime of brain damage.
You know, there's something very exciting about watching these fights. And when you are ignorant to the consequences of them, it's easier to get more excited about it. I went to the Bruins game last week, and there was a fight in the first period, and I did not get excited about it. I stayed seated. And I was one of the few, and you're right, if everyone knew what I knew, they would not be as excited about these fights.
Fans cheered as Boogaard headed to the locker room with yet another broken nose. In a few months, he would sign a multi-million-dollar contract with the New York Rangers.
That was a dandy.
A dream come true. But nobody predicted how far and how fast the boogeyman would fall.